Hello, this is the Nerd Squadron 535. I am Chris,
And I'm Andrew.
and today we are going to talk about where have the family films gone. So, I know you've been wanting to talk about this for a while. Can
Yeah.
you explain to me what you mean by where have the family films gone?
So, I think it was back in November. My wife and I, we were sitting down, we were watching Uncle Buck with John Candy. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I
Um,
do remember Uncle Buck for sure, but I think his name rings a bell. Tell me more.
so we're sitting there watching it, and I was thinking, they really just don't make movies like this anymore. You know, you sit down, you watch something like Uncle Buck. Um, your whole family can sit down and watch that. It's not,
Hmm.
oh, this is a little too risque for the kids, or oh, this is another kids movie. Like everyone can sit down and find something in it that they enjoy. Um, I've been watching that movie since I was a little kid. It's probably one of my all time favorite movies. John Candy's definitely one of my top 10 favorite actors. I think he was just phenomenal in everything that he did. But you don't see movies like that anymore. And a lot of it, I think, had to
Hmm.
do with the writer John Hughes. He did the first two Home Alone movies, maybe the third one. I don't know. He did Uncle Buck. He did Breakfast Club. All that, like the big hits
Okay.
for comedies in the '80s and the '90s. For a lot of them were John Hughes movies. And you just don't see like everything family oriented that you can consider family oriented nowadays either has to do with comic books or it's like some huge action spectacle or it's animated.
No,
Wow.
I agree with you in that sentiment. I feel like the the types of movies that are out now are either made for one demographic or another, that they don't try to capture every single one. Like when I think
Yeah.
family film, right? I think film for the whole family. It's for children
Yeah.
for sure, but it's also for adults. But it's not in the sense that it's like pandering to like grown up nerds or whatever, or like not that there's anything wrong with it, but like it's like basically has jokes for everyone to like. Like you
Yeah.
brought up like Uncle Buck or like Home Alone and stuff like that, or like I'm thinking about like also like I usually think of like the old Christmas movies and stuff like that, like Christmas Story and stuff. Um,
Yeah. Well, you also like there's no real actors out there that are trying to do these movies. Like you think back on like John Candy, he did a lot of family oriented stuff. Robin Williams, he did a lot of family oriented stuff. He was in Aladdin, he was in Flubber. I consider Mrs. Doubtfire a family movie because I love that movie.
I mean, like
Well, I
I don't
know
think it's
Robin
like
Williams
an
had in
actor
the
issue.
'90s did Mrs.
I
Doubtfire, did Jack,
mhm.
um,
I don't think
Hook.
I don't think it's like an actor issue so much as it like might be a marketing issue. Like I
Yeah,
feel like we're really afraid of like exposing, which is good reason, but we're afraid of exposing like any sort of like innuendos and the like to children, and like we're afraid of like showing them violence and whatnot. That we have to like make them completely polarizing. Like we have to have them like from either 1 to 10. We only have to have ones and tens. Like one being like Paw Patrol, 10 being like like a horror film, gore fest or whatever. So I think there's a lot of movies in the past, like family films, that actually had to deal with like mature topics, but in a way that children are able to digest. Like when it comes to like maybe loss or suspense or like stakes, but I think they're too afraid of doing that now. Uh, I do believe the talent is definitely there, but I think because it's safe to just pick one demographic over trying to reach a bunch of them, that it harms the writing in a way because it underestimates children, it overestimates adults like interest. Yeah, it's just kind of like that.
I think probably one person that I really see even doing family movies right now, actor wise, is probably Chris Pratt.
I also
Um, you
think
know,
Kevin Hart could do it if he really wanted to.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
The Rock, kind of too.
Yeah, but they're not making anything for the family without trying to set up some huge franchise. Not every movie has to set up a franchise.
No, I agree.
You know,
One thing I've also noticed is that films have been leaning further and further away from the household or like the neighborhood in terms of setting and theme, and it's always reaching out towards much more far fetched stuff like world being destroyed or like space and stuff like that. And it's like
yeah,
I feel like it's more of a sense of escapism, but I also believe that it might be partially that I don't know if Hollywood understands how like family is now, or like how a normal American household is,
well,
and it's like a disconnect.
speaking as a newer family man, I can definitely say that the family dynamic has definitely changed um, since John Hughes was around and making movies. Typically back then, you see stereotypical mom and dad, two, three children, dog, whatever. You know, but now you have same sex couples who are having children. You have other types of couples who are having children, um, and all that. So like the family dynamic has definitely changed. Um, but something else that I thought about was outside of movies, there's really not a whole lot of TV shows geared towards families either. Like back in the '90s, there was like Family Matters and Full House and stuff like that. There's just not a whole lot of that either.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like how a family is formed, I think that could be kind of an excuse, but not like a good one. I think like they there's a base like I guess essence of what like a family movie like would have, or something about family, like about like love, like unconditional love, or like persevering through like struggles and stuff like that. Growing up, there's so much stuff you can do with that, even if we have different dynamics. And the thing is, like, if Hollywood can't portray these dynamics in a realistic yet wholesome light, then like they probably don't have what it takes. I mean, that's probably why they make all these like Marvel films, because they don't know how to make a normal family, whatever, wherever or however they're formed. Like, I don't know. I feel like they probably don't know how a family is, like a normal family.
Um, well, that kind of goes into what I was saying, like the typical normal family that we saw growing up in movies has changed,
Mm-hmm.
because there are different types of normal families now. So like I think a lot of it boils down to they don't want to offend anyone, like because you have to have a certain amount of
I mean, like,
diversity
I
now.
I guess, I mean, like, I can understand, like, it's Hollywood, they want to portray the nuclear family a lot less, but
Yeah,
I think it's not just that. I believe I think it's just like this chasing for like drama and stuff, and not just showing people living lives. Like
yeah,
art imitates life. I remember that's an old quote. Like, they don't
yeah,
have to make like some grandiose plot that takes multiple movies to make a franchise and stuff. They could just make a one-off, just about a family being a family, no matter like
yeah,
what shape it is. It's like yeah, you probably don't want to do a traditional family for whatever reason, like DEI or what have you, but you still can make a good wholesome family movie that's fun to watch without having it be like full of conflict. It's doable.
yeah,
People, they made it before. I
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think another thing is, they might their ideas probably run out at, oh well, we could just remake this. Like I know a couple years ago they tried remaking Uncle Buck into, I think it was a TV series, and it didn't do well. Like you can make original ideas, or you can, a lot of times what Hollywood's doing now is they're just trying to, oh well, let's recapture this moment and remake this movie, but it doesn't work because those movies don't work outside of their setting. Like I know a couple years ago they were talking about remaking the Back to the Future franchise.
Right.
And I think the rumor was that they wanted Tom Holland as Marty, but that doesn't work because you can't. I mean,
You
I'm sure
can't
there's a way
make
to
that
do
for a
it.
modern audience. It's literally meant to be in the 80s. I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Everything about it is for its time. It's perfect as it is.
yeah. Like there are definitely movies and shows out there that don't need to be remade, don't need to be touched. Like remaster it. By
Right.
God, remaster it.
Like
I have no
I have a
issues with
feeling
like
I
a
have a
super
feeling if
4K Ultra HD version of Back to the Future where they've hyped up the CGI and all that stuff. I think that'd be awesome.
I have a
But
feeling that like if you were to get a remake today, they're gonna make sure if they phone in what the 80s is like. So we're just gonna see a bunch more like what a big stack of Nintendo games with 80s like top 40 hits being played constantly in loop for the
yeah,
whole entire
well,
movie.
see, the thing is, Robert Zemeckis, who directed the Back to the Future franchise, he owns the rights to that franchise. No
Hmm.
one is allowed to touch it
And
as
he
long as he's alive and or his family owns the rights to it.
and he doesn't want remakes.
Yeah, no, because it would be. He knows it can't work,
Yeah,
but there's just,
like
in my opinion, there's a lot of things that Hollywood could be doing to capitalize on making more money, and one of those things is going the family route, which they're not doing.
yeah, like I think like they could make the same story like now. They just can't use the same names and stuff like that. They could get away with that. Nothing's new under the sun, you know. Like I've seen plenty of plot lines that kind of like sound similar to like a completely different movie or a different tone entirely. Um, I just think that the dependence on these remakes and stuff like that kind of like is more of a crush to them in a way. You can if you can't make something without taking advantage of an older icon of success, then like you might not be ready for the industry. I don't know. I think there's not enough visionaries for like from all scales instead of like just marketing and stuff. I feel like it's Hollywood stagnant because of it. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just there's a lot of factors into it.
Yeah, but the thing is, I know the talent's there. I know that they want to make films. I do believe that they can go elsewhere, like Georgia, or make indie films, and it can work perfectly well. Uh, but I don't know, like how it would look considering like the types of movies that like I know there's some good movies also that are animated that are really good family movies, but I feel like it's very polarized in terms of like whose attention they want.
Sorry, got a dirty diaper.
Ah, yeah, that's a family man right there, Andrew. But
Huh?
yeah, like I just think that's the case. Like I think like with streaming services, there's so much to look at. It might also be harder to
Yeah.
just dish out more content and stuff like that.
Personally, I think streaming services are kind of ruining the film industry right now. Anyway,
Yeah, they can't keep up with like the insatiable amount of content. Like they're gonna always want more, more, more. Like literally, we just need less, less, less. Like delayed gratification. You just got let them wait. People can wait for films, and if they wait, then they'll pay more because they haven't seen a film in a long time. But you can't be making a feature-length film or a whole like hour-long episode every week and not expect to lose money. It's too
yeah.
expensive. No one like not every studio is Disney. It's hard, and you can see that from Netflix or what have you. They can't really afford it.
Well, Disney is has been the family company forever. And right now, they're not like this past year in 2023 was the first year in almost 10 years that they haven't made a movie or they had a movie that didn't make $1 billion in the box office. You know,
Yeah, they
so
and
I
like
think a lot of it is, they've stepped away from what their traditional movies look like,
yeah,
being geared towards the family. I know there's a lot of stuff going on about what they're doing with their Snow White movie.
Oh yeah, I
don't know
heard
if you've
about
seen
that.
any of that.
There's a bit of controversy there, from what I heard.
But they switched out the seven dwarves for seven like magical beings or something, and like they were.
I thought
Like,
they
I
switched
have
them back
no
to like
issue
CGI
with
dwarves. I'm not
diversity
sure.
and whatnot, but I don't agree with having diversity for the sake of diversity. Like if it makes sense, do it.
Yeah, I mean,
All
like,
for it.
I think the remakes are usually just like a cheap way to try to make easy money, and I don't think it works anymore because like the CGI spectacles, like Lion King or Jungle Book, or Aladdin, they're kind of gone, and what they have
Yeah.
left is just like they just have someone to make films, and I don't know if it's for write-offs or what have you, but it's just not working out. I think they have plenty of money and plenty of room to do good movies if they really wanted to, but I think their public reputation is just like gone completely down. They need to like renovate their image from the ground up, because I mean, like, if they're gone, like, there's not really much to fill the void. They're huge. Like, I don't know where they would go.
Yeah, no, if for whatever reason Disney were to go under, which I really don't see it happening, there would be a huge void in the film industry just because of how many movies and TV shows they have come out every single year.
Yeah, and it's nothing wrong with making like a movie like you did in the old days. It's just they just got to do it. I mean, like,
Well, yeah, I don't
try something new.
necessarily
You
have
can
an issue with their live action remakes. The issue is, for me, the people who are writing them and who are directing them don't seem like they're fans of the material, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, they kind of just do it as an assignment. Like, and I understand, like, it's Disney's choice, but you gotta have someone who likes the stuff. I mean, like, if you can tell when someone put loves in a movie.
Well, another thing, going off of that, Taika Waititi, who did the last two Thor movies, doesn't like Thor.
Yeah, like, what's the point? Why even do it,
He did it just to collect a paycheck.
Yeah.
But he literally came out, I think, beginning of December or late November sometime, and was like, yeah, no, I don't even like Thor. I think he's a horrible character. I just did it to collect a paycheck. Like, then why? Like, I understand, you want money, but if you're not a fan of the material, why are you making a movie?
To collect a paycheck. He already answered, I think Disney should
really
definitely
tell that with Love and Thunder.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
from the trailer, you can tell Love and Thunder was not going to be a good movie.
I really think Disney has to just, like, stick and make sure they filter out people who actually, like, will tarnish an image like that. Because I know, like, I feel like they're not paying attention to who they hire. Because, like, I feel like a lot of the people they do get, they either say something out of line that affects, like, their bottom line, or, like, it tarnishes, like, an entire, like, I mean, Marvel, like, the cinematic universe is like billions of dollars in, like, a franchise, like, there's so much money put into it to just have something like that happen. And right now, like, it's in limbo. Like, no one knows what.
I think a lot of it has to do with politics as well.
I do too, but, like, it's only to a degree. Like, because, like, you can have people be political and not have it affect your content, but it's the people themselves. Like, they make it affect their content, and that's why it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, they got to separate work from their beliefs.
They themselves are not a political company, but they let whoever's running the company lets their political beliefs kind of sway the decisions that they make for their movies.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, like,
sense.
It's the times we live in. It's definitely I miss the good old days when you can just watch, like, Christmas Vacation and, like, Home Alone and stuff like that without having to worry about these things. You can look back and there's no, like, talk of, like, old politicians or, like, current events happening. Yeah, there's not even just an agenda. You can escape the news into, like, a world that feels much more smaller, but much more like impactful. Instead of like having to be reminded of crises that happen like across the ocean that you really shouldn't be caring about unless like you have a stake in it, you know?
Or it's something that, like, what, this could be happening to me and my family right now,
Yeah.
Like something that you can actually immerse yourself in and know, like, you understand the feeling behind the movie.
Right.
Which
like
is why I think a lot of John Hughes movies hit home for a lot of people because, like take Breakfast Club, for example. One of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Everyone knows someone, like the 5 main people of that movie. Everyone knows the nerd, the jock, the
they're basically
girl.
archetypes in a sense.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stereotypes in that movie.
Yeah.
But everyone knows someone like that, or you are that person.
I mean, like, and it just works because the dynamics are like they've been working for decades. I mean, like it's tried and true. You can just use that over and over. It's just fine. There's nothing wrong with it, So like, I feel like they shouldn't be afraid to tread water they have, but I think they can do a lot with what they've done in the past. They don't need to use like old like IPs or like old like callbacks and stuff. They can make new movies with the old formulas and it just works fine, I don't know. I think
my son definitely agrees.
Yeah, I'm glad he agrees too. But I mean, I think we just see eye to eye on this. Like, I don't think there's much else to say.
Yeah, no, I think we're good here. For those of you who are listening, thanks for tuning in. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, all the places, and
be sure to like, comment, subscribe, make a comment. And what do you think about the topic at hand of where the family film has gone? But yeah, engage. I mean, like, I kind of want to hear a lot of people's opinion on like not just family films, but like kind of like how films are in general. Like if they if they think it's polarized, or like do they think like they're not experimenting enough with it? They're just feeling stagnant and trying to be safe.
Yep.
So, but yeah, in the meantime, I thank you all for watching. I'm Chris.
I'm Andrew, and we are the Nerd Squadron 535.